Welcome to ML 6.2.1, Analyzing Solution Performance Measures. The last lesson built the measurement framework. This lesson works with the data it produces. Let us get into it. The 90-day PDIG4U data is in at Lambert Inc. 4 results are on the table. Dashboard logins. Senior executives are accessing daily. Looks like success. Report generation time. Down from 11 days to 4 hours. Target met. Finance team request volume. Running at 62% of pre-deployment level. Target was 40%. Not on track. Center manager survey. 51 respondents report high data confidence, but only 42 center managers exist, and only 28 have login records. The data does not explain itself. The high login numbers could mask a declining trend. The finance shortfall could have a single root cause. The survey data may be inaccurate. None of these conclusions come from the raw numbers. They come from analysis. Task 8.2. Analyze performance measures. This is where measurement becomes meaning. Task 8.1 Produce data. Task 8.2 produces meaning. Performance measures rarely trigger a decision on their own. They require interpretation, comparison to the desired value, to prior periods, to what was expected. 5 elements together produce a complete picture. Performance versus desired value. Is the solution delivering the value stakeholders hoped for? A high-performing solution can still deliver lower value than expected. That is a different problem from a low-performing solution with high potential. Risks. Performance data may reveal new threats that must be identified and managed. Trends. How is performance moving over time, and is the collection window long enough to be reliable? Accuracy. Are the measures themselves reproducible and repeatable? And performance variances. Where is actual performance diverging from expected, and what is the root cause? Improvement recommendations belong to Task 8.5, not here. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to explain Task 8.2 structure, 2 inputs, 5 elements, 1 output, and articulate how it connects Task 8.1 measurement to Task 8.5 recommendations. You will apply the high-performing, low-value distinction, test accuracy using the reproducible and repeatable criteria, know where variance recommendations belong, and answer both exam patterns. Risks from performance analysis lead to risk analysis and management, and process inefficiency leads to the manual stage requiring the most complex judgment. Task 8.2 has 2 inputs. Potential value is the benchmark, the value that may be realized by implementing the proposed future state. Solution performance measures are the collected data from Task 8.1 to be interpreted and synthesized. 5 elements structure the analysis. Performance versus desired value. Compare measures against the potential value benchmark. A high-performing solution may still deliver lower value than expected. A low-performing solution may have high potential. If measures are insufficient to draw a conclusion, collect more, or treat the gap as a risk. Risks. Performance analysis may reveal new threats. Identify and manage these like any other risks. Trends. Consider the time period to guard against anomalies. Use a large enough sample over a sufficient window. Note pronounced and repeated patterns. Accuracy. Test whether results are reproducible. Consistent method, consistent results, and repeatable across different collection points. Inaccurate measures produce invalid analysis. Performance variances. Identify the gap between expected and actual. Apply root cause analysis for significant variances. Improvement recommendations go to Task 8.5. Not here. The output is solution performance analysis. 2 exam patterns test Task 8.2. The first. When performance analysis uncovers threats, the technique for recording and managing them on an ongoing basis is risk analysis and management. The traps are root cause analysis, which handles variances, not ongoing risk management, solution performance analysis, which is the output of this task, not a technique, and solution scope, which is a guideline input, not a technique. The second tests process inefficiency. In a multi-stage process with automated and manual stages, automated stages perform consistently. Manual stages vary, but not equally. A simple triggered action has minimal judgment and minimal variability. A complex routing or judgment decision has high variability because every unit requires a fresh decision. Between 2 manual stages, the one requiring the most complex judgment per unit of work is the most likely source of inefficiency. 6 steps take the analysis from confirmed inputs to a complete solution performance analysis. Step 1. Confirm the inputs. Verify the Task 8.1 performance measures are complete, validated, and current. Identify the potential value benchmark. Step 2. Examine performance versus desired value. Compare measures against the benchmark. Apply the high-performing low-value distinction. If measures are insufficient, collect more or treat the gap as a risk. Step 3. Identify risks in the data. Note conditions that represent threats to current or future performance. Record and begin managing them immediately. Step 4. Analyze trends accurately. Consider the collection time period. Look for pronounced, repeated patterns. Guard against false signals from short windows or post-deployment adjustment periods. Step 5. Test the accuracy of the measures. Confirm results are reproducible, same approach, consistent results, and repeatable across different collection points. Address any sources of inaccuracy before drawing conclusions. Step 6. Identify and investigate performance variances. Find the gaps between expected and actual results. Apply root cause analysis for significant variances. Document the cause. Improvement recommendations are held for Task 8.5. Pause and think. At Lambert Inc., the Center Manager Survey shows 51 respondents from a pool of 42, with only 28 holding login records. Before accepting or rejecting these results, which element of Task 8.2 does the business analyst need to apply, and what does it reveal? 9 techniques support Task 8.2. Acceptance and evaluation criteria defines acceptable solution performance. The degree of variance from the criteria guides how significant a gap is. A deviation within tolerance is treated differently from a breach of the acceptance threshold. Benchmarking and market analysis compares results against similar organizations to assess whether a gap is unique to this organization or industry-wide. Data mining collects and analyzes large volumes of performance data, uncovering patterns and meaning in usage logs, system events, and operational records. Interviews surface the qualitative context that explains discrepancies when quantitative measures produce conflicting signals. Metrics and key performance indicators provide the structured reference points against which collected performance data is compared. Observation surfaces issues that surveys and logs alone cannot capture, watching stakeholders interact with the solution in practice. Risk analysis and management identifies, analyses, develops plans to modify, and manages risks uncovered during performance analysis on an ongoing basis. Root cause analysis determines the underlying cause of performance variances, answering why actual performance diverged from expected. Survey or questionnaire gathers perceived performance data from large or geographically distributed stakeholder groups. Let us apply all 5 elements of Task 8.2 to the 90-day PDIG4U data at Lambert Inc. Performance versus desired value. Report generation time and executive login adoption are on track. Finance request volume is running at 62% of pre-deployment level against a 40% target, a critical outcome shortfall. Accuracy. The survey showing 51 respondents from 42 center managers is impossible. Investigation reveals that non-platform users were included in the survey distribution in error. Their responses are excluded. 28 confirmed valid responses are retained. Trends. When executive login data is broken down by week rather than aggregated, a declining pattern emerges. Login frequency peaked at weeks 2 and 3, and by weeks 11 and 12, the rate has fallen to 40% of that peak. The aggregate metric had masked the decline entirely. Risks. 2 new risks are logged. First, sustained finance request volume at current levels threatens the core value case if not resolved by month 6. Second, the declining executive login trend risks loss of the ongoing executive decision-making benefit the project was designed to deliver. Variances. Interviews with center managers reveal the root cause of the finance request shortfall. The dashboards display regional and divisional aggregates, but center managers need site-level breakdowns for weekly operational decisions. This is a requirements gap, not a technical failure. Output. Solution performance analysis. Variances documented. Root causes identified. Risks logged. Improvement recommendations held for Task 8.5. 2 patterns define the exam for Task 8.2. The first. When performance analysis reveals threats that need to be recorded and managed on an ongoing basis, the technique is risk analysis and management. Root cause analysis is the trap. It handles the why behind a performance variance, not the ongoing identification and management of risks. Solution performance analysis is the output of this task, not a technique. Solution scope is a guideline input. The second. Process inefficiency in a multi-stage process is driven by the complexity of human judgment in manual stages, not by the number of manual stages. Automated stages are consistent. Simple manual triggers, an alarm fires, an operator loads cards, have minimal variability. Complex manual judgment. An operator reads an address and selects the correct label from a range of options, has high variability because every unit requires a fresh decision. The most likely source of inefficiency is the manual stage requiring the most complex judgment. Question 1. A regional hospital network recently deployed a solution to automate the coordination of post-surgical recovery activities. A business analyst has been evaluating the solution and has been analyzing performance measures against the value the solution is expected to deliver. During this analysis, the business analyst has uncovered several threats within the solution that could hamper its performance and erode the value it brings. Which technique will enable the business analyst to record and handle these threats on an ongoing basis? A. Risk analysis and management. B. Root cause analysis. C. Solution performance analysis. D. Solution scope. Take 5 seconds. Which one would you choose? The answer is a risk analysis and management. The business analyst has uncovered threats that could hamper performance. These are risks. Risk analysis and management is the Task 8.2 technique for identifying risks, analyzing them, developing modification plans, and managing them on an ongoing basis. Option B, root cause analysis, is for identifying the underlying cause of a performance variance, not for recording and managing ongoing risks. Option C, solution performance analysis, is the output of Task 8.2, not a technique. Option D, solution scope, is a guideline input that defines assessment boundaries. Navigation tip: threats from performance analysis equal risk analysis and management. Variances equal root cause analysis. These are distinct. Question 2. A logistics center uses a parcel processing system with 4 stages: scanning, conveying, weighing, and labeling. Scanning and labeling are performed manually by operators. Conveying and weighing are fully automated. Scanning requires the operator to pass each parcel in front of a reader. Labeling requires the operator to read the destination region and select the correct label from a printed list. Which stage should be assessed as most likely to increase process inefficiencies? A. Scanning. B. Conveying. C. Weighing. D. Labeling. Take 5 seconds. Which one would you choose? The answer is D. Labeling. Labeling requires the operator to exercise complex judgment on every parcel, read the destination region, and select the correct label from a list. This introduces variability at every step. High-frequency, judgment-dependent manual work is the primary source of process inefficiency. Option A, scanning, is also manual, but it is a simple triggered action with minimal judgment and minimal variability. Option B and Option C, conveying and weighing, are automated stages that perform consistently and do not introduce judgment-based variability. Navigation tip: find the manual stage requiring the most complex decision per unit of work. That is the answer. 3 things to know. First, risk analysis and management handles risks uncovered during performance analysis on an ongoing basis. Root cause analysis handles performance variances. It finds the why. These are distinct tasks, and the exam distinguishes them precisely. Second, performance measures rarely trigger a decision on their own. A high-performing solution may still deliver lower value than expected. A low-performing solution may have high potential. The analysis determines which situation applies, and they require different responses. Third, Task 8.2 identifies variances and their root causes. Improvement recommendations belong to Task 8.5, recommend actions to increase solution value. Do not conflate the 2 tasks. This lesson covered analyze performance measures, taking the collected data from Task 8.1 and extracting the insights that make it actionable. 5 elements: comparing performance against the desired value benchmark, including the high-performing, low-value distinction, identifying risks that performance analysis reveals, reading trends over a sufficient time period to guard against false signals, testing accuracy to confirm results are reproducible and repeatable, and identifying performance variances, applying root cause analysis, and feeding findings to Task 8.5. At Lambert Inc., the 90-day analysis surfaced a finance request variance with a clear root cause. Dashboards lacked site-level granularity, an accuracy failure in the survey data, a declining executive login trend masked by aggregate reporting, and 2 new risks. None of those conclusions came from the raw data. They came from analysis. 2 exam patterns are locked. Risks from performance data lead to risk analysis and management, not root cause analysis. Process inefficiency leads to the manual stage requiring the most complex judgment, not simply the most manual steps. Data tells you what happened. Analysis tells you what it means and where to look next. Coming up next is ML 6.3.1, What's Holding It Back? Assessing Solution Limitations. The PDIG-4U analysis has identified a performance variance. Center managers need site-level data granularity the current dashboards do not provide. Task 8.2, Name the variance and found its root cause. Now the question shifts. Is this a limitation within the solution itself? Task 8.3, Assess Solution Limitations, is where the business analyst turns from analyzing performance to investigating the internal factors preventing the solution from realizing its full potential value. If Task 8.2 reads the symptoms, Task 8.3 diagnoses the condition. See you in the next lesson.